Regular watchers of this channel will probably know that For Honor is one of my most anticipated games of 2017, and now Ubisoft have decided to give us a bit more information on how the different classes and roles, and of course the factions, are actually going to work within the game itself. Now, we already know, of course, that there are 4 classes of unit, that being the Vanguard, Assassin, Heavy and Hybrid for each of these 3 factions, which are, again, Samurai, Viking and Knight. And of course we already know that Vanguard are basic balance units, Assassins are fast and squishy, but better in duels than crowds, and Heavies are basically tanks, and Hybrids are advanced builds with a range of abilities. So, with that out of the way, to kind of refresh your memory, here's some of the new intel. First thing is that there are no faction restrictions in For Honor, so you can actually mix and match these as you like. So, if you play Viking or whatever, there's not going to be any restrictions on what type of units you can use. You can very much mix and match and get a bit of variety going. Now, beyond the 4 broad groupings, there are significant differences between each of the 3 factions' units. Each faction's Vanguard will function differently than the other faction's Vanguard. And Ubisoft discussed in the Ubi blog, the Samurai's Vanguard, the Kensei, is faster than the Knight's Warden, and both of these are quicker than the Viking's Raider. And just so you know, the numbers, the names, not the numbers, for the Knights are Peacekeeper, Warden, Conqueror and Lawbringer. For Vikings, it's Berserker, Raider, Warlord and Valkyrie. And the Samurai is Orochi, Kensei, Shugogi and Nobushi. Now, naturally, each of these units are going to have a distinct look, primarily to help you recognise them easily on the battlefield, but you can also customise them as well. You'll be able to select gender, colour scheme and cosmetic appearance for weapons and armour, and as you progress you'll naturally collect loot, and allowing you to make gameplay customisation choices as well in terms of weapons and armour pieces. Now, they also discussed the multiplayer modes that you will be having. Of course, there is going to be a story campaign which will cover the 3 factions' perspectives. There will be 5 multiplayer modes. Now, they're calling this centerpiece Dominion, which is a 4v4 for battle for territory. And it says, quote, "You will need to hold control points and push back your opponent's weak but relentless rank and file troops to own the central battlefield in each stage. Communication and teamwork are vital here, as it's keeping your eye on your opponents and going after the territories they're not holding. Once your team controls all 3 points, the match enters a breaking phase in which the losing team stops respawning. If you can eliminate all 4 players before they can reclaim a point, your team wins the round." So a very interesting sounding mode, as does Brawl, which is a 2-on-2 mode, which you basically win rounds by killing off opponents, and Duel, which pits 2 players against each other in a no distractions game of counters, parries and quick death. So that's literally pretty much just like a fight to the death. Whoever wins, wins. Very simple and clean mode. Well, I say simple and clean, but it'll be anything but in the actual gameplay. Skirmish, however, is the final mode on our list, as a 4v4 deathmatch style mode, which you score points with kills. And sorry, that's not the final one. Elimination is the final one. Excuse me. It's a 4v4 match in which nobody respawns and the last player standing wins the round for their team. So that sounds quite intense and a real test of your skill there. That if you're good enough, you can actually win the match for your team just by holding on and keep surviving and beating away your opponents. Now, all of this was discussed in Ubisoft's blog. I will link that in the description below this video. There is quite a bit of information that I've kind of skimmed over or given you the cliff notes of. I've discussed the key points, but if you want to give the whole thing a read, as well as take a look at how these various units actually look in the game, it will be there in the description for your perusal. So, sounds pretty awesome. I mean, I'm definitely here for the single player, but the multiplayer is actually sounding pretty good. I like the sound of Dominion, and Elimination sounds pretty intense, so I definitely will be giving the multiplayer a bash when it comes out next year. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.